Howdy mates, how are we all doing? Here's a part 2 video. So I'm still over visiting the Edison and Ford winter estates down in Fort Myers. And as promised from my first video that I made, I was going to do an interpretation on this building. So this is known as the Mangoes Estate. So shout out actually Jake Miller, a good friend of mine. More mangoes. It comes from the fact that he runs like a little photography thing in which he calls himself Mango Man Photography. It's yeah. So hope this video finds you well, Jake. So the Mango Estate was actually it resided the Ford family. So like Henry Ford and his son Edison, and then his wife. So essentially we are to the left of the Seminole Estate, which belonged to Edison. So you know, this really provides a glimpse of what their relationship was like. Basically, Henry Ford looked up to Thomas Edison as essentially a mentor, more or less. So, you know, their relationship initially started in the late 1800s, because for a time, Henry Ford was just working for the Detroit Motor Company up in Michigan, because, you know, they were both based up in Michigan. So, in 1896, Henry Ford actually invented what is known as the quadricycle. So it's, you know, it's an open seating, so there's no roof, no cover, nothing of the sort. And it was essentially known as the very first car, you know, or automobile. This was even before he produced the Model A and the Model T, for example. Essentially, Model T didn't become an official released model until 1927. So, over 30 years. So, a couple of times Henry Ford actually tried to start his own business. But unfortunately, it failed. Just because at the time, there were a lot of competitors. But it wasn't until really his partnership or his friendship with Thomas Edison that really helped tremendously. And that helped him get more investors. Because that was the biggest thing back then, was making sure that you had enough investors in order for you to have success. So it was not long after, as it got into 1903 approximately, that the Ford Motor Company officially became a business. Now, here's a fascinating thing that I want to talk about. You know, with the friendship of Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, they both had an interest in looking for plants that had like a rubbery texture. There were a couple reasons as to why that was the case. So for one, Henry Ford needed a particular material to help produce his tires. And the amazing thing is, tires are still made out of rubber to this day. And then Thomas Edison, he was also interested too, because from the inventions that he made, such as that of the phonograph, for example, required some use of rubber. So it was a very, what you call, sought after type of product. So that's why, you know, at the estates, there's all kinds of plants that you'll see here that are both native and exotic. because essentially they were both trying to have an understanding of some of the plant biota throughout the world. However, though, it could be said that, since the concept of invasive plants weren't as known at the time, perhaps some of the plants that they did introduce didn't always have the best outcome. Because that's the thing. It's usually how it starts. Once you have an exotic plant growing in a garden and it somehow finds its way to get out of that garden, that's when it starts to reproduce rapidly. However, though, not all non-native plants are invasive. There's a lot of non-native plants here that aren't invasive by any means. But just over here, that's a garage that actually showcases some of the models that he made. There's even a Model T in there as well. And then if you look carefully where that person was just walking in front of, that's like the equivalent of an F-150. It was a bit heavier. And it was essentially like the first truck. But yep, this is the Mangoes estate. So named because, as you can see up front, there's several mango trees. Yeah, it's a really cool spot, you guys, to just, learn more about the history of both of their lives and their contributions, as well as even some of the history of this area too, and how much it has changed over the past couple of 100 years. So, alright, you guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I just realized since I'm getting over 7 minutes, it's getting a little long. So, alright, you guys, take care, enjoy your Sunday, and Journey on a Journey is outwards. Take care, folks. See ya.